Is this an alarmist thing? I don't think so. I think the reality is we're moving to a world where you're going to have to be able to communicate online. You're going to be able to have to present online. You're going to have to be able to effectively work with other people remotely. And this is a skill that many people still actually don't have. It's novel to say this, but a lot of people simply can't work without having other people around them and being in an office place to pressure them to actually do the work. It's going to be interesting to see who survives. What's up, internet friends, founders, and the Entrepreneur Curious? You've made it, and you're here. It's Venture Daily, news bits from a founder's perspective. What's up, guys? I hope you are having a wonderful day in self-quarantine for many of you guys yet still. I've been getting a couple of DMs and inbounds from people who are actually still on the road and still working. It's interesting. I know that every other company has its own policies around it. My response to the couple people that have emailed me and DM'd me, both DMs actually, I told them to be safe. So be safe out there, guys, wherever you are. Social distancing, what? I guess that's the thing. I guess it's important to be socially distant. But at the end of the day, I mean, whenever you're talking to someone else, you're basically breathing their spittle. You know, you're basically breathing who they are anyway. So I don't know. The whole social distancing, the whole, like, let's make sure that we contain stuff. I get it, totally, not poo-pooing that. You should probably be smart about your interactions. But if you're going to engage with people, you're just sharing spittle. You're just sharing spittle. However, in today's news bit, and you guys might see a small change as I continue to iterate through this daily show. Is today I'm just going to be covering one news article, and I might actually be doing that a little bit more because I'm getting focused. And I want to dive into some topics a little bit more deeply as we get moving and as we get closer to this remote first world that we're in. And since we're moving that way, a big part of what has captivated my heart around this is this idea of remote, this idea of providing value from home, this idea of making your mark, this idea of creating your own brand. And I want to spend a lot more time talking to you guys about that, because I'm actually building a site right now, a community site for people who are interested in helping and growing their brand, in learning how to create a brand and these types of things. So stay tuned, guys, especially for those who are connected to my newsletter, my daily newsletter, Venture Daily. No, Venture Daily is this, the Daily Hunt. So you have all sorts of stuff going on, guys. The Daily Hunt, for those that are subscribed to that, I'll let you guys know first as to when that's coming out. So I'm really excited about that. But in today's news article, there's an article called "By 2030, Every Office Will Be a Virtual Office." And I want to spend some time talking about that and going through it and seeing whether any of it makes sense to you guys. So let's get into it, guys. It's Venture Daily. We're going to be talking about this. By 2030, every office is going to be a virtual office. And then I'm going to be talking a little bit more about branding and this site that I'm creating. Let's get into it, guys. It's Venture Daily. By 2030, every office will be a virtual office. This is by Jeffrey James. Business owners and entrepreneurs need to think beyond today's work from home and open plan offices. In not the too distant future, knowledge workers in the smartest companies will work remotely from anywhere in the world and interact in either virtual reality or via augmented reality. And as much as we want to poo-poo this, as much as we want to shove this out to the back of the shelf, we don't live in a manufacturing economy. I mean, China still is in that, but in America, in most developed nations, we're in consumer economies. And because we're in a consumer economy, a lot of the work is being done by knowledge workers. Now, as knowledge workers, I'm a knowledge worker. as a knowledge worker, you don't actually have to go to an office. And this future is coming faster than I ever imagined. And this is one of those meta plays that I'm trying to focus a lot on and prepare and help others to prepare for this new reality. So yeah, VR, augmented reality, it's going to be a thing. The technology to create this kind of AR, VR office space already exists. As the price inevitably drops and the tech itself becomes more convenient and transparent, the demand for such workplaces will explode due to the following inexorable trends. Number one, increased public awareness of health risks. The medical community has long pointed out that the offices are inherently unsanitary and lead to the unnecessary spread of diseases. A single uncovered sneeze sprays droplets through the entire open office plan, settling on things we touch every day, but which we are seldom cleaned, like keyboards, mouses, chair armrests. AR and VR offices pose no health risk whatsoever, since you already have all of your own germs. I mean, I think most of us don't realize, and this is something that, generations ago, they certainly didn't realize, is that communicable diseases are because we just talk to each other, okay? I might not be showing any signs of sickness, but if you stand right here and I talk to you, you are eating my spittle. Oh, no, seriously. God. You're breathing my spittle. And so, is this an alarmist thing? I don't think so. I think the reality is we're moving to a world where you're going to have to be able to communicate online. You're going to be able to have to present online. You're going to have to be able to effectively work with other people remotely. And this is a skill that many people still actually don't have. It's novel to say this, but a lot of people simply can't work without having other people around them and being in an office place to pressure them to actually do the work. It's going to be interesting to see who survives. Number two, increased public awareness of a carbon footprint. An SUV commuting 10 miles a day for a year creates a whopping 3.5 tons of carbon footprint. I wonder if, for those that are driving Lambos, Lambos to work, guys. Nope. I bet the carbon footprint's a lot bigger. A single flight from New York City to Silicon Valley to get everyone together in one place creates 2 to 3 tons of carbon footprint per employee transported. Offices themselves, especially big rooms with high ceilings, have enormous carbon footprints. With climate disasters looming, this is unsustainable. In contrast, VR, AR offices have a minuscule carbon footprint of 1 connected computer per person. Now, while this is true, and obviously we're seeing political pressure mostly for companies to communicate to the world their carbon footprints, I don't see this being generally a big issue for you and I. But when it comes to remote work, if your companies are, let's just say, politically and socially active, and they want to lower their carbon emissions, remote work is going to be one of the ways that they do it. And so if you work for a large corporation today, and they're socially or politically active, you're probably going to see this as a bigger pressure point for your company as they move forward into the 2030s. So get ready for remote is what I'm saying. Number three, the growing backlash against open plan offices. While many CEOs are still gnawing the bone of a bankrupt concept, it's abundantly clear to everyone and anyone who's not been completely blinded by confirmation bias that open plan offices are an unmitigated productivity disaster. Open plan offices reduce rather than increase collaboration, and when you factor in the productivity loss, don't save any money, even in areas with sky-high office rentals. Unlike open offices, AR, VR, and remote offices could actually increase collaboration and would cost a company, well, basically nothing. Well, if you're not going to have an office, certainly that's going to lower a lot of overhead. And I think a lot of companies, especially in today's world, as things are getting tighter around the belt, they're going to be thinking about it. How can we create value? How can we ensure our employees can create value through remote first mechanisms? Number four, the growing demand for ever rarer skill sets. Even in areas like Silicon Valley, it can be difficult or even impossible to find knowledge workers with specific skill sets, and then you have to pay them ridiculous compensation because the cost of living is so high. With AR, VR offices and remote offices, a company can recruit anyone from anywhere in the world, vastly increasing the pool of qualified candidates while vastly decreasing the amount of money that they need to be paid. I've talked about this before, I'll say it again. In the future, right now, let's just talk about right now. Right now, most of the remote workers are coming in from other countries like Ukraine, Russia, India, China, Korea, Japan, UK, South America, these types of things. And the reason is because the labor is cheap, especially when it comes to engineering and development labor. But I will tell you, the future is going to be amazing, guys. The future is going to be amazing. And let me tell you why. The future is going to be amazing because in the future, you can actually be the resource that these other countries need. If these other countries, if you have companies in, let's just say Russia or India, and you love Russia or you love India, and those companies in Russia or India are remote first companies, you as an American can now work for an Indian company or a Russian company because they're remote first and they need your skill sets. This is going to be really crucial, this type of change in the market, in that not really experienced, well communicated people who are great at communicating online in the US can actually be huge assets out in other countries. I see this being a real reality. And so I want to prepare myself for the ability to do remote work in these other countries for other companies while staying at home here. It's going to happen, guys. It's going to happen. Number 5, the desire to finally eliminate workplace bias. Offices in meat space are all about appearances. There's a persistent bias in hiring and promotion against women, minorities, those that are not conventionally attractive, like me, and anyone who is in their 30s or older. Oh man, that's me, guys. Am I just not conventionally attractive here, guys? Is that why we got to go to AR, VR, and use my online avatar? So that you don't actually have to see my ugly ass face. Inside a VR, AR remote office, everyone can be represented by an avatar that may or may not resemble how the person actually appears. Bias based upon appearance becomes impossible because how a person appears is totally arbitrary. So what's the takeaway here, guys, for all of you out there? Due to this confluence of trends, in 10 years, centralized offices, open plan or not, will be like the phone booths, a thing that older people remember as once being useful, but which have since become irrelevant, obsolete, and non-existent. So, start planning today for the massive shift in how you'll organize and locate teams. Move quickly to work from home or a hybrid of work from home and a traditional office. Consider early adoption of the technology as it becomes available. Absolutely, guys. I couldn't agree with this article more. I think it's in many ways projecting a future that is many, many, many years away. However, I will tell you as a founder entrepreneur that these are the type of things that get me excited, because for someone who can work online, build online, create value online, this is exceptionally exciting. And I'm doubling and tripling down on this idea. And it's fascinating because things are happening so quickly that I almost feel like I can't build fast enough for this new world order. We'll talk about this in the last segment of today's show. Let's get into it.
Did you know that there's even more value than just audio or video? Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at VC Hunting, and make sure to sign up for the VC Hunting newsletter, where you'll be able to get weekly news on venture capital, startups, founder stories, and the occasional wisdom extracted from Peter's brain. Go to vchunting.com to sign up. And now, back to the episode.
Welcome back, guys, to Adventure Daily, news bits from a founder's perspective. You know, one of the things that has been just boiling in my soul, boiling in my heart, is this whole idea of remote work and branding. And I've been spending so much time on this. Obviously, I'm writing a book on it, which I can't wait to finish. I think that's going to be a big centerpiece of this new site that I'm creating, this community site. And so I wanted to kind of let you guys know and let you guys be the first to know that I am creating a community site. I'm creating a community site focused on branding, online presence, and how you can be prepared for the remote first world. I'm gonna repeat this many times, and I don't mind repeating it because people need to hear it. The future is going to be three things. Number one, it's going to be mobile first. Number two, it's going to be video first. And number three, it's going to be remote first. In this new world of remote first, video first, mobile first. In this new world, guys, you're to be able to differentiate. To be able to differentiate your message, your value proposition to the world is effectively going to be how good are you on video? How good are you at communicating what you know to other people remotely? This is going to be a crucial skill set that's going to be required for so many people in the new world. It's going to be required for the knowledge workers. Let's be honest. You might know a lot, and you might be a residential expert in something, but in a remote first, mobile first, video first world, if you can't effectively communicate that through web systems, be able to chat online with individuals, communicate and converse, have dialogue, have great discussions online, you're not going to be an effective worker in the future. People aren't going to want, just because you know a lot, but you're not a great communicator, you can't vocalize or communicate what your value proposition is or how you can add value to the equation, whether you're building a product or a service or whatever, you're going to be left in the dust. Especially those who, and not only that, in a remote first work, it requires an entirely different disciplines, entirely different behaviors to effectively work. And so this is an area that I want to spend a lot of time on. This is an area that I want to help the world in, is preparing people for a remote first world where video and mobile first and remote first behaviors are going to be crucial to your success. And I want to be a part of that. And so leave a comment below if you're interested in more information. Obviously, if you're signed up for our newsletter, Venture Daily, I'm going to be letting you guys know first, so make sure that you go over to that. There's shown in the show notes below, you can sign up. But guys, let me know in the comments below if you're interested in this. There's going to be several mechanisms in which I can make this happen, but I'm currently building out the site right now. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great. So guys, I hope you guys are thinking about remote first, mobile first, video first world. That's a place where I'm going to be digging in pretty deeply here. Actually, not deeply. In a lot of ways, this is something that I want to do probably for the next decade or so, because building today is going to prepare me for the next decade ahead. And Lord knows, let's hope that I survive that long so that we can see the fruits of all of that. It's going to be a grind. But if you're willing to join me, in a remote first, mobile first, video first world, I'd love for you to be part of my community and go even a little bit deeper. Thanks guys for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow.